Hey guys, in this video we're going to generate random stats for all of the items, not just the ones we craft, but also the ones we pick up from the ground or the ones we're going to add to our trader. And at the moment we already have a function that generates random stats for us. So in player blueprint you got add random stats, and we do have these random stats pools for weapons and armor. And if you remember, it does have a max value and minimum value that we could roll. But at the moment we are basing it on crafting level, okay? So it reduces the value by a percentage of our crafting level. And there is an easy fix that we could do. In the input, we will just add another one, and this will be use crafting level. We'll compile and save it. And then here, before we use the crafting level, and clamping it, you can move this back slightly, and here we just use select node. The select wildcard, this one here, will be the use crafting level, so we'll get it here as a variable, get use crafting level, connect it here, and now if we want to use the crafting level, this would be the true value. But if we don't want to use the crafting level, the max value will still be the same that we set. So we can roll the max value and connect it to max. And now from the beginning of the game, we could roll all of the values that we set in these stats pools. So for my, what is this one? Stamina, I could roll 20 straight away. For critical hit chance, I could roll 10. If you like, you could reduce it. So for the items in the world, you wouldn't be able to roll the maximum value, because then I know some people feel like the crafting wouldn't be much use. So with the crafting, you could actually reach the 100%, but with the items in the world, you could reach only 90%. And that is fine if you want to do that. What you could do is just get this max value, multiply this by 0.9, which is basically 90% of the value, and then you would connect it to true. But I'm not going to do that because I like the fact that I can roll the maximum from the drops. I'm just going to move this down. This one as well. And I'm just going to comment this for those of you that want to use it. So reduce max roll from drops by 10% and connect to false select node. Okay, because you need to connect it here. And if you don't want to use it, you don't have to even create this part. Now compile and save. We're now generating random stats in our crafting widget. Let's also check that it is true, because we set it to false as a default. So check it here, use crafting level. And now for all of our items that we pick up from the ground, we just go to items, interactable items, and we are setting the item info here from the data table. But unfortunately, this is a construction script, so we can't get the player reference here because it's not created until the event begin play. Okay, so it wouldn't work in a construction script. So we need to set it here on begin play. So we can just move this widget back. And before we cast to interact prompt, we already have a player reference. So we'll do add random stats. Don't check the use crafting level. And we already have item info set from the construction script, so get it here. Don't get the dropped item info, that is only for dropped items. Get it, and then we will set it right after from this random stats item. Now there is one more thing in here inside the function, that it will try to generate for materials, gold and stuff like that. If you leave it unconnected, it will just leave the same. Actually, no, it might set it to empty value in the interactable items. If you leave it like this, it will give you empty value. So what we need to do is just connect these materials to return node so it doesn't generate anything. Materials, potions, and just in case gold, even though gold doesn't go through this. And now compile and save. And we do have it commented so that we need to update it every time we add another type. And that's pretty much it. Now to test it out, what we could do is just, I do have these items, they should be able to reload. Let's pick them up. And now you can see I'm generating the random stats for them in the range that we set in those two arrays. So max health, max mana, critical hit damage, critical hit chance. So it's quite simple. And now also we're going to add it to our trader. So in a trader blueprint, so we do have big in play. Let's create a new custom event. Add custom event, and this will be set trader inventory. We'll create a variable which will be trader inventory, and it will be item info. So item info type, and let's make it an array. Compile and save. Now we need to create one struct. So in blueprints, let's right click, go to blueprint and create new structure. And these ones will be items to sell. Open it up. And here we're going to add a variable. First one will be data table row handle. And second one will be integer. So we will have a quantity for this one, for the second one, and the item to sell. And now in the default values, also let's change this data table to our items DT, so you don't have to select it for each one. And now inside the trader, we will create one more variable, and this will be called items to sell. And it will be that type of items to sell. And it will also be an array. So now if you compile and save, one more thing, instance editable and expose on spawn for this second one. Now what you could do is on the trader, in the default here you got items to sell, so you can just add item. Item will be, let's say, iron sword, and quantity will be 1. And if we wanted, we could add material, so we would add diamond dust, and I would add quantity 10. Save it. And now in the trader, once we select what we want this trader to sell, we could just do from here, from items to sell, we'll do for each loop. For each loop, we would break this open. We will break this one open because it's data table row handle. And then we need to get data table row. Data table will be items data table. And then it gives us item info, which then we could break open. from row found we'll do add, get the inventory, so trader inventory, add item, and then we also need to generate random stats. So we're going to get the player reference, which we don't have set up here yet, so move this widget as well, and cast to player blueprint, get player character, promote it to a variable called player reference. Okay, we do have it on the parent of this trader class, so it doesn't let us do. Let me see if we can get the player reference. We should be able to actually get it from here. I forgot that we have created it in the parent. So get the player reference and add random stats. And in here, once we found the row, we're going to connect this row here and then add to inventory this generated random stat item. Actually, we do need to have a quantity as well, so let's first break this open. So make item info, it will break it open, and we're going to connect the name, item class, static mesh, item icon. We need to clamp this value. So this value we need to clamp, because if we set quantity for sort 20 of them, then we're not able to add it to the inventory. So clamp it between the 1 and max stack. Between 1 and max stack, and then connect it to stack. And max stack will be just max stack, and the rest of it will be just connected normally. Random stats we have generated, so we just connect it here. And that is pretty much it. So what we're going to be doing on the trader, on each trader we can set up the trader inventory, what we wanted to sell. Later on maybe we could randomize items from the items pool, but I think generally this is a better idea because you want to have a certain trader somewhere that is going to sell different things. So you want to have a, you know, arrow trader that will only sell arrows and stuff like that. And yeah, that is, I think that is it. So we're going to loop from these items, break it open, add random stats, and add it to the trader inventory. And then from the trader inventory, now we have it created. In the next video, we can just create a widget with the trader inventory and player inventory, and we will be able to trade between them. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one. One important thing that I have forgotten is when we pick up the items and we drop them, we got max stamina, max health, max mana, and then I pick it up again, I'm generating different stats. And that is obviously not correct way of doing it. So in the interactable items, let's create a new variable, and this will be generate stats. And we're going to make it instance editable and expose on spawn. And here, before we add random stats, we're going to do branch check and generate stats. And if we are generating stats, we'll do this. If we are not, we're going to here connect it to cast into interact prompt. Now default value should be false, and we're only going to set it. Oh, actually, default value should be true. Yeah, let's make it true. That's going to be easier. So for all of the items, but when we drop items, so in player blueprint, drop item, we're going to set generate stats to false. So any item that we drop won't be generating any stats. Now let's see if that works. So I do have 11.8 on stamina. I'll drop it. 11.8, it's the same. Right. Let me see if I pick up arrow, if it doesn't do anything weird. It's working all fine. Okay. See you in the next one. Bye.